Record. The last thing we mentioned was mahloket between the rabbis, whether or not you're able to collect avadim, slaves, from yatomim as a debt. The reason two would be because of the debt. The reason against is avadim can be considered karka and you can collect real estate. Back and forth mahloket between the rabbis, and we even wrote stories, but that was the case. And Ula and Rabbi Elazar disagreed. But the stories showed that, the last story showed that they one time collected them as payment, and Rabbi Nachman said, return the slaves or I'll punish you. I'll make you pay. Told the Bedin, if you don't return the slaves, I'll make you pay for it. Amar le Rabbi Nachman, Ha Ula, Ha Rabbi Elazar. We have Ula, we have Rabbi Elazar. Hi Dana we have the judges of Nehada'a. All of them hold that you're able to collect. All of them hold that slaves are like karka and you should collect. Why more Why are you disagreeing with them? I have a braita. The Tanya Avim taught Turizbul halal karka. A prusbul takes effect on land. The ena halal avadim does not take effect on slaves. Right? What's a prusbul? Prusbul, every shemitah, there is a mitzvah from the Torah that all loans are canceled. All loans become canceled in shemitah. However, because we don't want people to avoid lending out money or people to get away with loans, what you could do is that if you have a loan and that you don't want it to get canceled in shemitah, you make a prusbul, which in essence you're transferring the loan over to Bedin, and Bedin handles it for you in a summary. So therefore it doesn't get canceled. That's just like a summarized way. So you're able to make a prusbul on land, but you can't make a prusbul on slaves. And movable objects can be acquired with land, but they can't be acquired with slaves. Both of these halachot show that avadim are different than land. And that's what Nachman holds. That's not good. Nachman holds, it's not land. In the Braita it says if someone sold slaves and land, and he did a chazakah on the slave, but not yet on the karka. Right, he made the slave pick up his shoes, for example, but he didn't yet do a chazakah on the land.
Shout out Rabbi Galati.
Delete that. No, I'm joking. He didn't make a chazakah on land. How do you make a chazakah on land? He's just doing that so he could see it tomorrow and laugh to himself. Shout out Momo when he's watching this tomorrow.
Why can't he join?
He has somewhere to go, quote unquote. Anyhow, so there is, I lost train of thought. Oh, so you made a chazakah on the slave. You made him do something for you, but you didn't do chazakah on land. How do you make a chazakah on land? You worked it, you break a fence, etc. Karkaot lo kana avadim. Sorry, karkaot metatlin. One second, one back. Oh, so he basically only acquires the land, not the evet. However, karkaot metatlin b'lila chazakah on both. If he did the karka, he automatically gets the metatlin. Metatlin lo kana karka. He did the movable objects. He does not acquire karka. Right. So far, so good. If you're buying metatlin means anything that's not real estate, any movable objects. So you bought metatlin and karka, and you did a chazakah on the eved, for example. It works on the land, but not on the eved. And if you did the land, it works on the land and the movable objects. Karka and metatlin. You did the land, you get the metatlin, but metatlin no kana karka. If you did the movable objects, you don't get the karka. Now, avadim metatlin, slaves and movable objects. You did the avadim, you do not get the metatlin. Metatlin no kana avadim, you did one, you don't get the other by either of them. The Braita says as well. If you do the slaves, you get the land, the items also. Right? The fact that one opinion holds that if you do a chazakah on the eved, you get the movable objects, and one holds you don't, seemingly. It's the same machloket we're discussing now. The machloket whether or not an eved is considered karka. The same way karka can transfer it over. Amar of Ika Bered of Ami de Kula Alma Avadim Kimakar Kadam. He says, no, Not a good proof. Really, they could both hold that slaves are like land. But Hanatanya Kana is Shapir. But in that case is different when you're buying stuff. Because you have another thing called Kinyan Aga. Right? Kinyan Aga we mentioned in Kiddushin. You're able to acquire one thing through the other. Buying two things, you're able to acquire one thing through the other. So even though they're considered land, or not considered land, doesn't make a difference. You're doing Kinyan Aga. Okay. But the second bright that says it doesn't work. Why? The reason why it doesn't work to acquire items is because you need, in order to acquire movable objects with karka, right? And we're saying that slave is considered karka. You need it to be considered like the land of Mitzurot and Yehuda, the cities, which are what? The low 90, don't move. Therefore, slaves move. You can't acquire stuff with it. It has to be stationary. The Tanakh of learned Mishnah that you have to see that slaves are stationary, items are stationary, makes a difference or not. Right? We've had this before as well. Yuchin as well. Yes. Items that have no liens, movable objects, can be acquired with real property, real estate. By money, document, and chazaka. How do we know that? Amar Hiskiyad, Amar Kra. Their fathers gave them gifts, gold, silver, food, together with the cities. Seemingly, through the cities, he gave them metatali. Another explanation. No, Avadim are metatalin. And therefore, when it says it doesn't work, it's good. How does it Kanan? According to the other opinion that holds it does work, how do we explain that? Be'odan alav. The items were on the Eved, right? So, for example, you're trying to sell the Eved and the necklace, a gold necklace, and the gold necklace is on the Eved. In that case, it works. So the Gemara says, it's considered a moving chatzer. A chatzer only acquires something for you. Your chatzer, your backyard, can acquire something for you only if it's stationary. Right? So if I want to sell you something through my chatzer, I'm selling you my chatzer and the stuff on the chatzer, it works because it's stationary. However, in this case, if you're talking about an Eved, the Eved is not stationary. How can you sell the necklace? Where it says, even if you're telling me that he's standing still, whatever can't serve as a good transaction while it's moving, also can't be a good transaction even if it's not moving at the time and it's sitting or standing. So the Gemara says, very simple, it's true. If you want it to work as a good transaction through an Eved, it has to be tied up. So therefore, he can't move. Not that he's not moving, he can't move. All right, we have a very similar halacha in Gitin. You're able to give a get through the Eved that's tied up. Okay. If you did land, you're able to, if you did a chazakan land, you get the avadim as well. In that case, it's talking about that they were standing in the field, and therefore they acquired through the field. Mechlal, which sounds like the Hailo Kana in the first case where it did not work, where they were not standing inside. That makes sense according to the first opinion. The first explanation is it works because they are considered like movable objects. And therefore, if the items are inside, it works. But if not. And according to the second opinion, it holds that they're considered land. Why do they have to be standing inside? If it's land, I don't care where they are. It acquires automatically. I can sell you 10 fields in 10 different countries. Once you did a chazakan, one of them, you acquire all 10. So I don't care where the evidence is. Why did they establish the case, according to the second opinion, that the case is talking about where it is in the same spot? 1 second. The Gemara says 1 second. According to your explanation, you said, "Oh, it works so well if they're considered metatalin." That also doesn't make sense. Why? Why do you still need the slaves to be standing inside? We already learned elsewhere. In order to acquire something that's being bought with the field, right? It's machloket. If I want to buy oranges from you and I'm buying your field as well, do I have to stack the oranges on the field? And we said no. So over here also, why would you need to have the avadim standing in the same field according to the first opinion that it's metaltalin? And the mind, how do you explain it? Shani metatale de naidi metatlanadi. Difference is because some metatlan don't move, don't have to be in the field. Metatlan that do move have to be in the field. Hachanami here too as well. That's why I can explain why I explain it well. Shani mekarka de naidi. So to the land does not move is different than land that can move. Slaves and not slaves. After the mekarka de naidi. After the avadim are considered land that moves. Hatam sadna v'da'arachatu. But in case of Shmuel, Earth is considered one big Earth, even though it's separated by oceans, the entire planet, and therefore you can acquire multiple fields. But over here, regarding the Avadim, they have to be in the same spot because it's a movable land. Okay, interesting halachot. Is the machloket of if Avadim are considered karka is throughout Shas, and it's a back and forth fight all the time. Okay. Next part of the Mishnah said that nechasim she'en ba me'ilah, items that have no isur of me'ilah. Me'ilah is considered stealing from Hashem, from Bet HaMikdash. So we said you're chayav if they're not chayav in me'ilah. So it's not considered Bet HaMikdash stuff in a way. So me'ilah hu dletnu. You're telling me there's no isur me'ilah, yani you're not chayav for me'ilah, ha-mekadesh kadshi, but yet if it's considered hekdesh, you're still patur? Montana, who's that right? Kalim is referring to Kochim Kalim. Who holds that Kochim Kalim are considered the owners, right? So there's two different ways of Kochim. Kochim we know is holy, great. But there is Kochim Kalim and Koche Kochim. Kalim is light, not such high level Kodesh, and Koche Kochim are extremely high level. We'll go through it right now. But the idea of Koche Kalim, lighter stuff, for example, Tiruma, is that it belongs to you, but you have to do something with it, right? Tiruma belongs to you, but they give it to the Kohen, right? It doesn't belong to God or belong to the Kohen, right? No one can just walk in and take it from you. It belongs to you. It's Ba'alim. However, if you have a Korban, for example, that belongs to God. You can't use it. You can't take care of it. If the Bet HaMikdash picks it up, it's theirs. You can't stop them. Okay? So, according to the opinion that holds that the Koche Kalim is yours, therefore, it makes sense that you're not chayav in me'ilah. Tanya the Berta says, "Uma'ala ma'al ba'ashem." If a person shall commit a me'ilah against God, that about Koche Kalim shehin mamano, that teaches you that Koche Kalim are your item, yani belongs to you. Even if it's according to Bisagli. This is Mishnah. If someone decides to mekadesh a woman with his portion of a korban, ben koche kochim, ben koche kalim, whether it's koche kochim or koche kalim, in a mekadesh doesn't work. He's against Bisagli because he holds that it's yours. If it's your piece of koche, right? If we said it belongs to you, it should work as kiddushin. We're trying to bring a proof against him. Where it says, this makes sense even according to Besagli. Why? When he said that halacha, mehayim is referring to when the animal is alive. Let's say you want to bring a korban shalamim. Korban shalamim is a voluntary, optional korban. It's your korban. You're saying thank you to Hashem. Therefore, if you want to do whatever you want with it, it's yours. And therefore, if someone takes it from you, it's not considered me'ilah. And therefore, it's considered koche kalim. However, if it's slaughtered as a korban, and now, for example, the piece that's supposed to go to the Kohen Gadol or whatever it is, it doesn't belong to you. You might think it belongs to you, but it doesn't. And therefore, after it's slaughtered, it's different. But even after slaughter, Bisagli admits that it belongs to God. Because the Kohanim acquire their portions from God. What does that mean? You slaughter a korban and they get split. owner, Kohen, God. Some gets burnt, some gets to the Kohen, some goes to you. How do you look at it? I'm getting my portion. I'm giving to the Kohen. I'm giving to God. No. After you slaughter and put on the Mizbeach, it's all God's. God is giving some to you, and God's giving some to the Kohen. Therefore, you can't do Kiddushin. That's explanation of Rabbi Yosef Aglili. But Rabbi Yosef Aglili say that while it's alive, it still belongs to you. Vatnan, Bechor mochrin oto tam hai. A Bechor can be sold by the Kohen without a mum while it's still alive. Ubal mum hai v'shachut. And an animal that has a mum can be sold whether or not it has a mum. Alive. And you can even be mekdesh a woman with it, the Kohen. That's only nowadays. The Kohen lo chaz because we can't bring a korban, right? Nowadays there's no korbanot. Therefore, the Kohanim have rights to the money, right? They're not. They own the animal nowadays because they can't bring it as a korban. When it's Bet HaMikdash, the Hazli Hakrava, when it's supposed to be brought as a korban, law, you can't sell it, you can't use it. The Pasuk says that you shall, if you do Me'ilah, the Rabot Koshe Kalim Shem, one that teaches you that Koshe Kalim belongs to you. So we see in the Braita, Koshe Kalim, including Bechor, belong to you, even when there's Bet HaMikdash. Bomb question. You just told me the Bechor only belongs to me when there's no Bet HaMikdash. Now we're saying even Bet HaMikdash, the Pasuk included it, that it belongs to you. Ravina explains it, sorry. In that case, where it belongs to you is only talking about a Bechor in Chutz La'aretz. True, there is a Bet HaMikdash, but outside Eretz Yisrael, it's different. According to Rishon, it says, if a Bechor came from Chutz La'aretz to Eretz Yisrael without a mum, you bring it as a korban. Only if they came. But they don't have to be brought. Right? So if you want to do a big mitzvah, you make a big deal, you want to bring it to Eretz Yisrael, fadal. But you don't have to. So, if we just said that you can't sell the Bechor, etc., that basically holds that Kodesh Kalim are considered your money when it's alive. Lishni, he should have answered, Harav Yosef Aglili, Baharabanan. He could have easily answered the Braita, right? Very simple. According to the Braita that said earlier that Kodesh Kalim belonged to the person, that's what Yosef Aglili. And Chachamim holds like Rab Nachman, or Nachman holds like Chachamim. That what? That if you sell something during Bet HaMikdash, it doesn't work, it doesn't belong to you, it belongs to God. So the Gemara says no. Amalei, Matanot Kehuna Ka'amart, you're talking about Hilchot Kehuna. Hilchot Matanot Kehuna, Kohanic gifts. Right? That's not a good proof. Shani Matanot Kehuna, the Kikazahu Mishukon Gavoa Gazahu, same exact answer as before. You can't bring me a proof from Bechor, because a Bechor, you might think, right, because you're not bringing the Bet HaMikdash, right? I'm taking my Bechor from my house, East 23rd, I'm going to the other guy, to the Kohen on East 22nd, I'm giving it to him. Seemingly, no Bet HaMikdash. But the answer is no, even in that case, it's considered God. God made that animal holy and is making that mutar only through the Kohen, and therefore when the Kohen's acquiring it, he's acquiring it through Hashem, and that's why he holds not about that opinion as well, that you cannot use it for anything else.